At this session, we are going to find out what is UTM. UTM stands for Universal Transverse Mercator Coordinate System. This type of projection is not used for navigation purposes, but supportive offshore plans may be provided in UTM, and those plans they have less geographical distortions compared with traditional Mercator projection used for navigation. Universal Transverse Mercator Coordinate System is a standard set of map projections with a central meridian for each 6-degree wide UTM zone. The transverse Mercator map projection is an adaptation of the standard Mercator projection which flips the cylinder 90 degrees transverse. So from here the term transverse appeared, because the cylinder for mapping is placed in transverse direction or rotated to 90 degrees, covering the Earth. In this projection we have some main attributes and we are going to discuss some of them. UTM projection prepared from 84 degrees north till 80 degrees south. This is a military projection which is adopted by NATO after World War II for global military companies, which may be coordinated with one unique type of projection. This projection is a Cartesian system. In other words, coordinate here reflected in meters, not in degrees. This projection has 60 main zones on longitude, dividing the Earth with a step 6 degrees. So 6 in 60 will give us the sphere as 360 degrees. On latitude, zones coded in letters from south to north, each 8 degrees. Letter O in zone code as a number 0 are absent to avoid misunderstanding. Each central meridian divides each zone on 2 pieces. And the main zone number 1 prolongs from 180 degrees west till 174 degrees west. And if we make simple calculation, transferring 1 degree in meters using the standard mile equation, we will receive next result. 1 degree in meters means we multiply 1852 meter in 60 minutes, and then we receive 111,000 meters, and if we multiply those on 3 degrees we receive 333,000 meters. In this projection we have few artificial offsets which are in use as false easting, and this offset equal to 500,000 meters and applied always, and this is actually the value for calculation of the coordinate by longitude. And false northing, this offset is 10 millions only and it is applied in south hemisphere, and those artificial offsets are needed to avoid the negative numbers which may appear in Cartesian system when you move down and when you move to left side from the starting coordinate of the system. So that is the main idea. Now we are going to find out how to determine the coordinate and how to read the coordinate in this projection. Let's draw the crossing of the axes, northing and easting. Northing is the meridian of the zone and easting is the equator position. Those two axes are creating the system for further coordinate calculations. Two vertical bars present the limitation of the zone by longitude, and we have 3 degrees per each side of the central meridian of the zone. Totally we have 6 degrees on longitude per one zone of UTM projection. The central meridian is assigned with value 500,000 meters, and this is the false easting artificial offset which is always applied. Because if you move in Cartesian coordinate system to left, then probably negative numbers would appear. To avoid those numbers, instead of 0 for starting of the crossing, we use 500,000 meters offset. For example, I'm using the main zone number 1, which is prolongated from 180 degrees west to 174 degrees west, with the central meridian at 177 degrees west. When we are working in South hemisphere, we remember that equator will be not equal to 0, and the value for equator will be 10 million meters. This is where the false northing artificial offset applied. As I said before, it is applied only for South hemisphere. Now at the drawing you see that I try to use the conversion of 3 degrees in meters for further values assigned for the vertical bars, which are the borders for the UTM zone by longitude. And simply adding 333 meters to 500 meters, 1000 of course, I receive the 833,000 of meters for right border of UTM zone at the screen, and deducting from 500,000 meters 333,000 meters, I'm receiving 167,000 of meters for the left border of the zone. And now you see we don't have negative numbers in projections as it was promised. With red arrows, I would like to show you the value of the next position. If we are moving from the central meridian to 100 meters thousands to north and to 100,000 of meters to east. In that case, the coordinate will sound as 100,000 meters northing and 600,000 meters easting. This is how to understand the coordinate in UTM. Why it is in meters? Because this is just the distance from the central meridian of the steps what you move to desired position, to left or right, and that one is the distance in meters from equator to desired position, and crossing of those two offsets from central meridian and equator are providing you the estimated coordinate, or a fixing, or a position if you like. Now we try to move for the same step as 100,000 meters but to west and on the same distance from equator as 100,000 meters. And we receive next crossing, which will sound as 100,000 meters northing and 400,000 meters easting, because we deducted from our artificial offset 500,000 meters the value of step we did to west, and we received 400,000 meters. But before, on previous example, we just added 500,000 meters to step we did 100,000 meters, and we received 600,000 meters. That's how it works. In case if we are deciding to work in south hemisphere, and if we move exactly on the same step, let's say to west and beneath from equator or down from equator, then we receive next coordinate from equator in that case, which will be equal to 10 million meters, because we know that we have to apply the false northing offset. We deduct 100,000 meters step and we receive the coordinate 9,900,000 meters of what? Of northing, and 400,000 meters of easting, because from the central meridian equal to 500,000 meters we deducted 100,000 meters and received the value 400,000 meters. Now we know how to understand the coordinate presented in meters in UTM. But when you try to work with UTM, you have to understand that if you don't know the name of the zone, it is actually impossible to use in correct way the provided the coordinate. And very often I'm asked the question why the false northing is equal to 10 million meters. The answer is very simple. You know already that the coordinate projection prepared from 84 degrees north till 80 degrees south. So if you multiply 84 degrees on 1852 meters using the standard mile, and if you try to transfer degrees in meters, you will receive the value about 10 million meters. And then that value just shifted to the beginning of the coordinate system which we are discussing here, and then you know the story. We have to use this artificial offset only when we operate in south hemisphere. I mean false northing we have to use only in south hemisphere. That's how it works. Gents, this slide was intentionally prepared to demonstrate only you the idea of understanding of UTM coordinate, giving you some main details about projection. The full description of projection is available in your training manuals at appropriate UTM chapter. So please read the full details about this projection to have better understanding of the theory connected with this subject.